Hello, Kubrick Lover 1972. Here with just a brief video. I wanted to share what I've picked up recently that was mailed to me, and another one that I got for free. The two Blu-rays were mailed to me, and then the other movie, which is a DVD, I got um, from the basement of the library where I work at, where they sell new and used and DVDs, DVDs and Blu-rays. Anyways, these first two Blu-rays, just the two Blu-rays in the video. Um, I have a Barnes and Noble credit card, so when I spend up to $2,500 on the credit card, they give me a $25 gift certificate to their online stores or to one of their brick and mortar stores. So I usually order something. It's I think it's always been a movie. Maybe I've ordered a book or so, but I think it's always been basically movies. So, anyways, I wanted to buy this, so I bought this Criterion or Reiner, Werner's Fassbinder's. I don't know how to say that in German. Weiner or Reiner, or anybody knows, just put a comment down there. And I think Werner is pronounced Werner, maybe like Werner Herzog. Fassbinder. Anyways, it's a Fassbinder movie. I think it's a TV movie, a TV miniseries. It's like 8 hours long. And it's called 8 Hours Don't Make a Day. Oh, that's kind of interesting. I just noticed by saying that maybe the film was deliberately 8 hours long, like the title. Maybe I don't know. I guess I'll find out after I watch it. But it's got 2K digital restoration by the Weiner Werner Fassbinder Foundation with uncompressed monaural soundtrack. And then you got 8 Hours Don't Make a Day. A series becomes a family reunion. A 2017 documentary directed by Julian Lawrence, featuring interviews with actors Hannah Shugla. She played Karen in one of my favorite films of all time. That was directed by Fassbinder. Bitter Tears of Petra von Kant. And then you have, where was I? Yes. Oh, wait a minute. Yeah. And then Herman, she was also in Bitter Tears. She played Petra von Kant's secretary. Wolfgang Schenk and Hans Hirschmuller, in a new interview with film scholar Jane Shattuck. So, and an essay by scholar Moira Weigel. So, you got like 5 episodes in here. It says you got this writing on here. Not a writing, I'm sorry, what am I talking about? The illustration right there. I don't know. A little sort of reminds me of a New Yorker cartoon. Speaking of just digressing for a moment, if you've read the New Yorker, that's a really good magazine. So they've put poems in there. I think Steve Martin. I don't know if Steve Martin has put poetry in there or not, but I think he's done some essays for the New Yorker. And then, of course, he had Pauline Kael work for it. And I think she had a rival film critic there at the New Yorker. I don't think there's much in the way of art on here. I could be wrong. Let's just take a look and see. But the New Yorker has these funny, there's nothing there. Wait a minute. Nothing there. New Yorker has these funny comics. Hang on a sec, I gotta wipe my nose. Yeah, that was just I just had to take care of that. So I'm looking forward to this 8 hours. Don't make it. Don't? Yes, don't make a day. So this looks pretty cool. I've seen this guy. He was in Berlin Alexanderplatz. He played, I think that's him. Reiner. I can't remember the character's name. He was also in World on the Wire as well. Yes. Well, of course, you know the Fassbender movies. Okay, second movie was recommended to me by a friend on YouTube. And he's saying it's a really good movie. And another friend of mine who lives near me, he says it's a really good movie too. And I thought I would pick it up. It's a John Boorman film with Lee Marvin called Point Blank. This has a commentary by director John Boorman and filmmaker Steven Soderbergh, which sounds pretty interesting. Vintage featurettes, The Rock Part 1 and The Rock Part 2, and theatrical trailer. So it doesn't have a lot of special features, but I don't care. As long as I had the movie, you know. I'm looking forward to watching this. It has one of those, I guess it's, what do they call these? Eco cases or something? I don't really care though about packaging and all that kind of stuff. You know, like, well, I shouldn't say that. I like Criterions, and I like how they put booklets in sometimes rather than pamphlets. But sometimes I don't care. Sometimes I do. I don't know. It's one of I don't know. I can go either way. And the last film, it's a DVD, and I picked it up for free because somebody donated it to the library, and then I guess it didn't make its way down to the basement yet, and I just asked if I could take it. So I think I hear this is a pretty good film. Oh, it says a masterful film. Roger Ebert says that, and it's got Tommy Lee Jones, Charlize Theron, Susan Sarandon. It's The Valley of Ella. I guess it's about the Iraq War. So it's got some special features in The Valley of Ella after Iraq and The Valley of Ella coming home. An additional scene. So, anyways, so that just about that does it. That's all I was going to show you. I want to say for a trip to Japan, so I'm starting to gain momentum on that. I have like $500 or $600 something in my conservator account. There's a person who helps me pay rent and medical bills to make sure they're all paid, so I don't have to worry about those sorts of things. And when my savings account reaches $500, then I'm going to take the conservator money and invest it in a bank CD, certificate of deposit, because I don't know, like if some people that are not Americans watching this, I don't know if they know what a CD is, but they have different, maybe you do, maybe people from out of the U.S. do know what a CD is. Anyways, it's called certificate of deposit, and you put in, depending upon the amount of money you put in, you gain interest on it. And you have to keep it in the bank for a certain amount of time, because if you take it out of the bank before the term is up, you get penalized. You get a fine. And then when it matures, when the CD matures, you can take it out of the bank, but you have to do it within a certain span of time. Otherwise, it just rolls over into another whatever time limit you want, which is the shortest is 6 months, and the longest is probably a few years. So I'm probably going to take the CD money and invest it for 6 months. I was gonna try and get it going this fall, but I don't think that's going to happen. I think it's more than likely going to be the winter. So maybe with my savings account, I think I'm close to $200 there or something like that. I think I have at least $100 in my savings account. Or maybe I took a little out. I don't know. I'm not good with math. I had to think this all through, and then it'll take forever to talk about because I'll be thinking in my head, carry this number and subtract that number and all that kind of stuff. And, but I think I am making some concrete steps towards getting to Japan, and I'm doing my research. I found out China Eastern Airlines is not a good airline to take because even I looked on TripAdvisor on the internet. I know I'm digressing, but I just want to talk about this. So I looked up TripAdvisor to see how passengers rated China Eastern, and I guess it's the fifth largest airline in the world, but it's like one of the cheapest ways to get to Japan. But the problem with it is, well, you land in Shanghai, and when you land in Shanghai, before you head over to Tokyo, sometimes you lose your baggage. You get fined more money to get on another plane. You miss your connection. Your stuff gets stolen. You're forced to stay at a hotel in China. And then I hear about the actual flight and the lavatories. The bathrooms are dirty, very unsanitary. I guess there might be maggots in the food or something. The seats are dirty. They're small, but I think a lot of Asian people are much smaller than Westerners. Because my cousin went to Hong Kong on business, I believe. He's tall. He had to duck down when he got into the subway in Hong Kong because he was so tall. Anyways. So China Eastern Airlines is like $500, $700, and Japan Airlines is a little bit more than that. It's at least 500, if not 700 to 1,000 more. At least a 500 more. More than that, like 1,500. Whereas China Eastern is something like $500, $700. So, but you get peace of mind with Japan Airlines. There's another airline that's Japanese. It's called ANA, like Nihon or Nippon, which is what the Japanese call their country, Nihon or Nippon, Nihon, I believe. But both of those airlines are supposed to be very good, and they go. What I've read about them, they go out of their way to help you. Like if they're going to be delayed getting you on, maybe they give you free food, or they find ways to go about solving problems and making sure you're satisfied, and that just fits in, with what I hear about Japanese people being very friendly and very accommodating. So I think it'll take me about 3 years to save for it. And and I'm thinking of taking samurai tours. I'm going to put this video on my Facebook page, I think, because just to tell other people besides YouTube people, about my plans of going to Japan. What was I saying? Oh, Samurai Tours. There's this group called Samurai Tours, and I'm thinking of using them because they use like 15, 16 people. And they have 1 week economy tour. They got a 2 week and a 3 week. I'd like to take the 2 week, I think. The 2 week is the one I want to take. and they give you some. They can work with it with your schedule. Like they can if you want to go by yourself somewhere or you want to do something, they can try to fix that for you. So I'm looking forward to it. I know it's 3 years away, but at least I'm doing something about it, and I'm glad I'm saving money for it. And the only luxury I'm really allowing myself these days is food, because sometimes I get sick of eating the same old stuff. Sometimes I go out to eat, but not. I try not to eat out every single day, but I eat out maybe a few days a week. So, anyways, that's a video. I know I'm going on. I should have said before I talked about Japan that you could stop this video after I talked about the DVDs and Blu-rays. So that does it for this video, and I'll talk to you soon. Thanks for watching. Take care. Oh, P.S. So this video is going on a little longer, I guess, because I was just uploading it to YouTube, and then I had a few other thoughts about the trip to Japan. I just wanted to get a little more in detail. So I mentioned Samurai Tours. It's basically you do a lot of walking and you take public transport like the bullet train, and you stay in places called Ryokan, Ryokan, and I think they're like bed and breakfast. What's that word I'm looking for? Substitutes. Japanese, a Japanese bed and breakfast kind of a thing. And you sleep on tatami mats, and there's you have sliding doors, so you really have the Japanese experience rather than staying in a hotel, in a hotel with a regular bed like you would in America. Also, what else I was going to say about Japan was what was the other thing? It was, Samurai Tours. Depending on the tour, obviously, the more weeks, the more money, and so forth. So you're paying a few thousand anyways for like the economy trip, which is 1 week, but I'm not going to do that. I'm doing the 2 weeks because I really would like to get my money's worth, and I'd really like to see a lot of Japan, and also because it's 4:02 a.m. in the morning right here on a Sunday. And over in Japan right now, it's at least 4 in the afternoon. Maybe it's 5 or 6 in the afternoon right now. Because I know I've spoken to somebody in Australia. One of my YouTube friends who lives two of them live in Australia. Their time right now, I think if it's 4:03 a.m. here, it's 4:03 p.m. there. And I think Japan it's further west than Australia. So I think it's a few hours ahead of them. I think it's 6:03 p.m. there in Japan right now. The next day. Anyways, so the Samurai Tours, the packages are like a few $1,000, and then I think it's like a $400 fee or a $500 fee. I think that covers the meals and the lodging. What else was I going to say? I think I've covered everything about Japan. They have a rail pass. It's like $300, I believe, for a week or a few weeks. Japan is not cheap. It's like one of the most expensive places to go in the world. What else? Oh, I know. A taxi from Narita Airport in Tokyo to your hotel. That's now I don't know how to the yen exactly compares to the dollar, but I think the yen is much higher. So what what's expensive for us is cheap for the Japanese, if I'm saying that correctly. So, if you took a taxi in New York City from Grand Central to JFK, or JFK to a hotel in Manhattan or something, you're going to pay like, oh, I don't know. I'm kind of guessing $40, $50, not 20, maybe 40, 50, maybe 60, maybe 40, $50. But in Japan, a completely different story. You're going to pay like $200 for your taxi drive from the airport to the hotel, in a hotel in Tokyo, mind you. Not going to Kyoto or Osaka or anything like that. So they recommend. I'm trying to do my research online, and like they recommend taking a bus, or I guess there's a train that connects you to maybe a hotel or something. So that's how you try to save money. Now like New York City, eating there can be expensive, right? But there's always like cheap places. There's always places you can find in New York where there's cheaper food, like the hot dog stands on the corners, the streets, But there are other places too, I would say, in New York City. And it's the same thing in Japan. So like, a fancy restaurant, if you just go to a noodle bar, you'll save a lot of money, So, I'm sure when I go to Japan, I'll try a few places that are probably a little more expensive, but I'm not going to try. I don't think I'll try, to eat expensive meals all the time when I'm there, I also want to mention that I can speak some Japanese. I'm not fluent in Japanese. I know some phrases and some words in Japanese, and I've had my first Japanese teacher he was American. His father was in the military. He was stationed in I think it was Okinawa, and he was in fourth grade. I was in fourth grade when he taught me Japanese. I was at Montessori. He taught me some Japanese history. Then in sixth grade, I had another teacher when I moved to Connecticut from Ohio. She was Japanese. And then after high school, I took an adult continuing education course in the city where I live, but I lived in the town next door at the time, and she was from Hiroshima, and I learned. I think my best Japanese teachers were my first one and her from Hiroshima. I think they really taught me a lot. They taught me a lot of Japanese, and some of it's really ingrained. I guess you could say that. Like Hajimemashite Dozo Yoroshiku, which means how do you do? Pleased to meet you. And of course, some people know Domo Origato, thank you very much, or Domo, thanks. I don't want to get too much into the language because maybe I'll bore you, but like Ohio gozaimasu is good morning, Ohio morning, Oyasumina-san, good evening, Moshi Moshi, that's what you say when you answer the phone. Sayonara, konnichiwa, goodbye, hello. Inu is dog, Neko is cat, Eiga is film. They have some Japanese words that come from English, just like we have French words for our language. You know how we have hors d'oeuvres and RSVP, responsive play? Well, they have hatodago, which is hot dog, and they have radio, which is radio. Ocha's green tea, mizu is water. What else do I know? Kore wa sumusu-san no tonkyu desu ka? Which I don't know if I said that all right, but it was something like, are you Mr. Smith that works at Tokyo Electric? Then there's another phrase I know, ima nanji desu ka, which means, what time is it? And in their language, they don't always say ka, I think, when they ask a question, but des is like, is there in our language, we don't say period, or we don't say, how are you doing, question mark. We just say, how are you doing? But they sort of say des, period, ka, question mark, when they ask somebody a question. Oh no, another one. Watashi wa Casella Brian des. Or my name is Brian Casella. Or anata wa Kurosawa Ikiro des. Ka. Or maybe it's Kore wa Kurosawa Akira deska. Kore wa I think aren't. I don't know. Maybe it's more like maybe Kore wa is more like where is something like Kore wa Meiji Shrine deska. So I know a few words, here and there, but I'm not fluent. I'm going to try to be fluent with with Japanese. The city where I live, their library, they have a very extensive collection of languages, CDs and all to learn how to speak Japan. Not just Japanese, all kinds of languages. So I'm going to try that, to keep doing my research. That's why I'm reading this book on Japan. And I really find their culture really interesting. They're like one time when Diane Sawyer was on the news covering the Fukushima nuclear reactor, being damaged with the tsunami that hit the shore there. I think she was trying to be generous and be helpful to someone, maybe give them food, I don't know, something. And this Japanese person just gave her some food. She wasn't a member. She wasn't a victim of this flooding. She was just a reporter. So that's the thing about the Japanese. They're just extremely nice, friendly. They go out of their way to help you. Like I said earlier in the video with Japan Airlines, for example. So I think I've covered everything. I've covered everything. So I won't keep you any longer. I thought I'd just lay all that out on the table and tell you everything, and I have like a huge collection of Japanese movies. And a friend of mine has said, why don't you watch a Japanese movie you've never seen before with the subtitles off and see if you can translate it. And I don't think I would be able to. I have watched Japanese films, and when they say, when the subtitle says water, for example, and they say mizu, I know they're saying water, so those sorts of things. So that's it. I'm getting off. I'll see you soon, and see you in the next video. Okay, bye.